Welcome to episode 10 of Beyond the 90. I'm joined with the usual guest this week. Hi, Neil.
Hi, James. You all right?
Yeah, not bad. And you okay as well?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Not bad. You both still buzzing after the 3-0 win on Saturday?
And I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I'm happy with the result, but I've seen a lot of fans getting carried away saying it was an incredible performance and stuff. But I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, I think we'll come on to this in a bit. But overall, I'm just really thrilled that Vardy's got his 100, which I know we'll come on to, and the fact that that's the thing that potentially we've needed in the game to be able to move forward and hopefully secure Champions League.
Okay, cool. I wanted to touch a bit about the game. I know we did our reaction show straight away after the game, so if you haven't seen it, go and check that out first. So obviously we started with 3 at the back. It was kind of an orthodox 3-5-2 at the start.
Was it?
Yeah. I saw Matt Piper talking about it on Sunday as well. We started with 3 at the back, a kind of unorthodox version. And then when Chilwell went off, we went to a proper kind of 3-5-2, which I think we touched on the reaction show. One thing I wanted to ask you guys is, as part of that second half, Tielemans pushed forwards into the position we saw him end of last season when he was absolutely magical. Every time we've seen him play there, it's been his own. I know I've called him in the past, he's not been performing this year, but when he got into that position, he seemed to be a totally different player. Now, I think when Maddison plays, he can't go into that position because Maddison fills that. So the kind of question is that his main position? Is he good? Is he better there? Which I think the answer is yes. But how can you fit him and Maddison in the team when Tielemans doesn't seem to perform when he goes a bit deeper?
I thought Tielemans, didn't he play alongside Ndidi but got a little bit further forward?
Yeah,
I thought he was playing a bit deeper than usual.
Yeah, I think he had that freedom to push forward.
Yeah, and as you say, it's probably the best performance we've seen from him for a while. So that's where Brendan Rodgers has got to come in and find a way to make Maddison and Tielemans both fit, because they're both in themselves match winners, and they're both 2 players that we've got to have on the pitch when they're performing.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and I think we've already seen it. When Brendan Rodgers came in, they were playing a 4-1-4-1, and it was interchanging where Maddison and Tielemans would take that link-up position. And it allowed Tielemans to get forward and actually put a couple. I remember against the Arsenal game, put a header in and stuff like that. So he does look more comfortable in that position. And at times when he's drifting back and he's playing, like even against Crystal Palace, he's dropping very, very close to Ndidi, where I was like, Ndidi can cover that. You don't need to take that much room. To the point where we've seen it happen before. So I don't see why he doesn't revert back to that even when we're playing the 4-1-4-1.
I see what you're saying, and I think that is his best role and stuff. So it's just whether Brendan Rodgers keeps going forward with that, or whether he reverts back to where we were before of sort of Tielemans not having that freedom.
Well, obviously we've seen he needs to have that freedom because he creates chances. But even then, this season, I think he's got 5 goals and 8 assists so far. So it's not amazing, but it's still pretty good for the amount that we've said he's not been on the ball.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you're right. I think playing 3 at the back, I think gives our midfield a bit more freedom than they've had before. Sometimes we play a bit more defensively in midfield because I think sometimes we give the opposition a bit too much respect. We know they're going to run at us, so we kind of have Ndidi deep, and then I presume Tielemans gets told to stay a bit deeper to try and give us some cover. Because in the past we have been overrunning the midfield, but I think you're right. There's definitely an opportunity to get them both working together and both in the same positions. So I think it's interesting, but I think that 3 at the back works well, especially now. Bennett's played his first game and he just seemed to be so calm at the back and kind of the Bennett we all thought was coming, the one from Wolves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the position he reminded me of kind of, I know it's been going around a bit social media, but a bit like Robert Huth, where it was like, get off the ball, I'm taking this position, old-fashioned defending, and it just works a treat. And he would, on that right-hand side, he fit in, and bearing in mind, we've not seen him play a first match, a match for Leicester City. This is the first time we've seen a professional match. So you remember when we came to Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans against the Wolves game, when we somehow won that 2-0. Johnny Evans wasn't very good, and he was actually dropped for the next game when Wes Morgan came in. So the fact that he can come in when he's just on loan, he's not really had that much of a pre-season. There's been a coronavirus lockdown, and he's been thrown into a game at half time. I think that's a really good performance, all things considered.
So my question to you two is, and I read this afternoon, he's got a £5 million release clause. Would you pay that $5 million and get him in and be that cover of defence that we need?
Yes.
For me, I'd bring him in, but I wouldn't look at him as the only option. I'd bring him in and then also look at someone like Nathan Ake and Aya as well to bring in.
Okay, that makes sense. Because obviously we've got Wes Morgan to add into that as well.
Yeah,
we can't rely on Wes though. I'm sorry. If we rely on Wes, then we're going to have the same issue next year of still being short of a centre back once he's retired.
Well, we've still got Benkovic to come back on loan. We'll see what happens in the summer, because it's obviously that Brendan Rodgers doesn't rate him that much. Otherwise, he would have kept him in the team and been around the squad and then put him in from time to time. But I think the kind of person that Bennett is and the role that he'll play is vital, because bearing in mind you've got Chilwell and Justin at the moment. Both of them are still young and still learning, especially on that right-hand side. You need somebody that's going to go, I can take care of you. You have the freedom to go forward. And I think Bennett's the perfect person. He's got the experience. He's not too expensive. He's fine sitting on the bench. And he's got the ability just to see out a game. And essentially, for £5 million, you can't really, in this market as well, you can't really go wrong.
No, you can't. Oh, go on, James.
I was just going to say, has Benkovic come back? Because I know that Bristol City, he got injured at Bristol City, and I'm sure they sent him back. But I'm not sure if he's still injured or not. He's just one of them players that seems to go somewhere, get injured, and then disappears. But he wasn't cheap, was he?
No, he was more expensive than Sionchu, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was the other way around. I think that Benkovic was 13, if you were to believe the reports. I think Sionchu was 20 or 19.
So I got that one wrong.
But Benkovic came in first and Sionchu was the afterthought. So maybe that's where. So that's what it was. Remember, we got Benkovic in first. We got him signed on the day. And then Sionchu, we didn't get him signed on transfer day. But we had to kind of go. Yes, but I remember Leicester City with the flag going, we've signed a player, but we have to agree work permits and all this other stuff in order to actually get him in. So it did feel like Sionchu was the afterthought.
Yeah. It's strange because as well last year, maybe not last year, but previously it was always thought that Benkovic was sort of more highly thought of than Sionchu. Because even in the cup games last year, Sionchu didn't really get a look in, and Benkovic was getting huge praise out on loan at Celtic. So it's really weird the way it's turned out this year.
I think that they wouldn't let Sionchu go anywhere because I think they saw the potential in him. And obviously they've been coaching with him for a full year before he got unleashed on the squad. And I think what a move it was. Benkovic went to Celtic. How many players have we seen been amazing at Celtic and Rangers and then come to the Premier League and not really produced?
Yeah.
Quite a few. But at the same time, we've seen a fair few that have come and done well.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's probably injuries are not helping him at all, because you want someone in your squad that you can rely on. So if they're going to take up a squad number, you want someone that's actually going to play for you rather than just be on the sidelines.
Especially in a role that's as vital as central defender as well. That you need to form a relationship with your defensive partner so you can play in that position. So that's why he's kept Evan and Sionchu together quite a lot, so that they've got the kind of the yin and yang of kind of the old, the experience, and the young and the youthful kind of thing.
Okay, that's great. Right, so obviously on Saturday we saw Vardy's 100th and 101st Premier League goal. So I've asked you guys to have a think about your top three. So we'll start with your third choices first. Neil, do you want to go first?
So my third choice was going to be the one against West Brom in the Greatest Escape. So the reason why I put that one in is because it was, if you look back at the season after that, you look back at that is an identical Vardy goal where he's running from the halfway line, taking on defender, getting past them, uses pace and slots in the back of the net in order to get us the 3 points in the game. So that's the reason why I've put that one as number 3.
Okay. That's my number 2. So, Ant, what's your number 3?
Neil, I'm going to kill you. That was my number 3.
This is why I've left the Liverpool one out, for exactly this reason.
Okay. So my number 3 was the Man United at home match when Vardy scored his 11th goal. The pass from Fuchs was amazing. The finish was unbelievable. King Power was rocking that night. So that's probably my number 3 goal.
And you go for this one before I spoil it.
What, for number 2?
Yeah.
What's your number 2, Ant?
So my number 2, I know at the time it was a consolation goal because we were winning, but it was against West Brom again. The ball, I think it was Mahrez over the top to Vardy, and the technique on it, when he hit it, sort of not even looking at it, just letting it drop over his shoulder.
Okay. Yeah, that one was a really good goal. For me, I've gone Manchester United because I thought the 2 that people were going to put into Liverpool and the Man United one. So I've left them 2 out. So both of them would be in my squad, but mine would be the other Man United. So the 4-3 when we were 3-1 down, and to get it to 4-3 when Richard Latz sets up Jamie Vardy. So that was the first time the Premier League really saw the Jamie Vardy that we all knew from the Championship. And that goal, even though it wasn't the winning goal, it was such a big goal for him, and I think his prospect in the club. The fact that he's normally playing out on that wing, and he got the first goal for Ajoa, and he slots it in at home when we're down, and you just see the jubilation on his face. I was like, yeah, this one has to go in.
Okay. My number 2 is the West Brom goal we discussed. The reason for me is that's kind of the moment that I kind of believed we could actually stay up, because it was looking bad, but that's kind of the moment I thought, hang on a minute, we could actually do this, because we were well bottom. And now we got out of it. It's probably down to Vardy and Co scoring goals like that. So that's kind of where my number 2 came from. Number 1, Neil, do you want to go first?
So again, I'm just going to preface this again before people slate me. Liverpool and Man United, them 2 goals that James mentioned, they're out the window for me. The number 1 I've put was arguably one of the moments where I thought we were going to lose a match. We ended up winning. That was the game against Aston Villa. So Vardy gets in a ball where Drinkwall slides it across. Jamie Vardy sticks in the back of the net for 2-2. And the jubilation, and my brother was actually at the game. He goes, the atmosphere, because I've never seen anything like it. So that goal, the celebration, for the Ranieri celebration, the whole crowd celebration, was just the start of things that were actually going to come. That season for Vardy getting the top 11. But that goal, I think, is really underrated because it set up the premise that he was gone. I think that was part of his run as well. But that one was we were 2-0 down at home, and I just thought that we are not going to win this. And the fact that we went on to win the game, even though he got the drawing goal, that's why I put it in number 1.
And what have you gone for number 1?
I don't know if it's there.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
What's your number 1?
Oh, yeah. So for me, I could have gone with sort of the 11th goal in the streak against United and stuff, but thought that was quite an obvious one. And I went for one that I think is quite underrated of his, and it was against Spurs when the Spurs fans were giving him some jip about his wife and being in I'm a Celeb, about being in the jungle, and literally moments later he chips Lloris with an absolutely outstanding volley, and then straight over to the away end, as only he does, giving them just as much back as they were giving him.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think another one we could have put in is the 2 hat-tricks he got. So the one against Man City and the one against Southampton, even though they're like the games, but I think them goals to get a hat-trick in the Premier League is quite something. And to get it against Man City under Pep Guardiola, I was tempted to put that in my list as well.
Yeah, I think those were all very good individual performances, but I don't think there was any like incredibly standout goals sort of him specifically per hat trick.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
My number one was the Liverpool one. Obviously, the technique was amazing, and that's kind of my number one. I know over the weekend Leicester City posted all the 101 goals that he scored. One thing I did notice, it wasn't the goals that he scored, it was the kind of assists that he was getting. Riyad Mahrez is on a different level with assists when I was watching it. And even after Mahrez is gone, some of the assists he's had from Pratt and people like that have been unbelievable. So I think when you look at it, if you look at the assists as well, you think they're actual great team goals rather than him getting the ball on the halfway line, beating people and scoring. His team, and it must be a great thing, his team know exactly where he's going to be. And they know that ball, he's going to get on the end of it and score. And that must be a great thing for a team to be able to do.
Yeah, and I think that's why he didn't do well for England, because they didn't quite, to play to Jamie Vardy's strength, the team has to be built around him. Now with England, they're not going to, because Harry Kane is the golden child. And also they're not going to really provide service. If they've got the opportunity to go past somebody, they'll figure that. And there's a certain, I don't know how to say this, there's a certain way that England play that Jamie Vardy doesn't fit in. So even though if he goes on to get the golden boot, and I genuinely think that Gareth Southgate won't call him up. He won't. I think that them days are just done, because they've seen firsthand that he only works in a certain way. He played in the World Cup in 2018, but we just didn't see it, the Jamie Vardy that we knew, for that exact reason.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think his game suits international football. International football's quite slow, isn't it? And we've seen Messi's never lit it up for Argentina, has he? And he needs Barcelona to play in a way that he's great at. And I think to get Vardy in that team, you might want to change the structure a little bit, because that midfield is quite packed. You've not really got a playmaker in there that can like ping balls around. And I think his age is well against him, because for some reason the FA only want youth now.
I think this is what, as you say, they only want youth, and I would say someone like Danny Ings is a lot more likely to get selected than Vardy is.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, and I had this discussion yesterday with someone, is I know the European Championships have been put back, but Harvey Barnes is getting in that team. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of 12 months' time, Harvey Barnes will be either playing for England or on the brink of England. And seeing him at the European Championships will be amazing. For me, Greenwood and Foden, you put them three in that England team, and you can get great things again.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think go on, Ant.
Yeah, I don't think, like, as much as I like Barnes, I don't think he's on the level of Greenwood and Foden, but he's definitely like a very, very exciting youngster and stuff. But the thing for me is he's quite unfortunate with the amount of wide talent England have got.
Yeah, that's my issue. I don't think he'll get in the squad. I think he'll potentially get in the squad, but I don't think he'll get as many game times, just because of that exact reason. There's so many other good people in that position. Bearing in mind, Rashford's only like 22 or something, and he's only getting better year on year, and he's coming into the peak of his career. Barnes can be at times, if you're not, as we found out with Leicester City this season, he's not going to perform game in, game out like a Rashford can. And he'll be a good player for England, but only a bit part player. I think you'll see him very, very rarely in a friendly in the second half against, I don't know, Bosnia or something.
I think he's got a season to kind of. The thing for me that lets him down is his decision making. There's been quite a few times where he's gone for glory, where he could have squared it back to Tielemans, or even across to Vardy. So I think if they can sort his decision making out, which is probably a big if, because how long have we been saying that about Gray, that his decision making needs sorting out? So I think if Barnes can adapt and make his decision making better, and he gets full game time next season, then I could see him pushing that position. But I think it all depends how we do. It depends how he does.
I think you're right. He's going to be on the brink, but it's, as Neil was saying, that the players in that position, they're very high-end players, and they're also around his age or younger. Because you've got Jadon Sancho, who's what, 20?
Yeah.
Rashford, another one.
Foden.
Sterling, Foden, and then even potentially Grealish. I'll be saying should probably be ahead of him in that pecking order at the moment.
Yeah. And also as well, just to mention, Barnes has played, 2,054 minutes, so quite a lot of minutes, but he's got 7 goals and 8 assists, which is still very good going for his, bearing in mind we've got him back from loan in January. And it was one thing we criticised him last year where his decision-making wasn't the best. I'd like to think his decision-making has got better for the way that he set up, the second goal against Crystal Palace was a no-brainer. But the vision to see that ball that Vardy is free was a brilliant thing. But yeah, 8 assists and 7 goals is not something to really snap at, because that's a decent percentage for somebody that's only young and is in a squad that's really pushing on for something.
Okay, so bringing us back to Jamie Vardy. So we've all seen the great goals that he scored. I think one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, how long do you see him being here for at the level he's currently at?
And
I'll leave this one to you. I'll come back in a second.
I think this season will be the last time he hits the numbers that he's like the properly high numbers that he's hitting this year. And then I think in the summer we need to be looking at another striker and stuff, because obviously he's still going to be an incredible option for us to have off the bench. But I don't think he's as quick as he was before, and he doesn't have that breakaway pace compared to what he was. I'm not saying he's slow by any stretch of the imagination, but compared to the lightning pace that he had before, he's not that. So for me, I would say probably got another year or 2 years in him, but I do expect him to slowly start declining now.
Well, the thing is, I kind of agree, but it just seems like Jamie Vardy's the difference. Like, if you would have said that at 33 he's going to be heading for the Golden Boot, you would have gone, no, he's had his time. He tried to do it in 2016. He's not going to get that. So I think he's still going to be Leicester's number 1 for the next 2 years, minimum, in my opinion. And he'll see out his contract whenever that be and however much that will be. I think he'll see that out. I think we'll see his goal. I think he can do this for at least another season and then come down maybe 30%.
I think you're right in what you're saying about seeing out the contracts and stuff. It's just with the prospect of European football next year, I don't know how likely it is that he's going to play every game because of his age and if he's got that within his legs.
No, I think it all depends on our formation. So when we play him up front on his own, he gets isolated. He's running all over the place, runs himself into the ground, I feel. But when we play the 3-5-2 and got somebody next to him, somebody to take the ball, fetch the ball, and do a lot of the carrying for him, he seems to be a lot better player. So I think for me, next season, definitely he can last the whole season if we go to that 3-5-2. Wolves play they do 3-5-1-1-1 sort of thing. So if we can get a formation that helps him, I think that's only good. And Jamie Vardy's always defied what everybody says about him.
Exactly.
So I think you can do that. I think the thing is when do you kind of make that decision and go, okay, then him and Nacho are playing okay. Towards the end of next season, they kind of get average. The difference being is he's so big at Leicester City, and I think this is one thing we've always spoke about is who do you bring in that's going to be a kind of, I'm okay to sit on the bench until my time comes. So you look at the great strikers out there, I don't think we'd get any of them. You'd have to get an up-and-coming striker.
Do I need to say the name that I want? Or do you think
you're banned. You're not allowed.
So the striker you name cannot be part of a team in Glasgow.
All right, so I want a Colombian striker that plays internationally.
Okay. And where's his club team?
James Rodriguez.
Somewhere above the border.
Oh, is it?
No, but in all seriousness, I do think Alfredo Morales, if we were to bring him in this season and almost play under Vardy's wing for a year, I think he would be brilliant.
Yeah.
I think, the thing is, I think Nacho is the perfect person. I don't think we can get a person that's good. I'm trying to check how many goals and stuff he's got, because his goal per minute rate is 112, which is actually better than Vardy's. And he's got 10 goals, 3 assists. For the amount of minutes he's played, he's been a brilliant talent this season. And we've definitely critiqued him. Like even in the Crystal Palace game where he made that foul on the area for no reason and gave away a free kick. And Milivojevic is quite good at them. So there's things like that he's got to clean up from the game. But again, he's still young and he's around a load of players that are going to get better. I can't imagine getting another player in that is as young as good as Nacho that's going to be happy to sit on the bench. So Nacho, I don't know if he's the complete package. If you know what I mean, he's not the complete package in terms of a striker like Jamie Vardy, but he is very close. So if we get him in and somebody else similarly to kind of boost that, especially when we're training for the Champions League, it could be a really good strike partnership.
Yeah, and I think Nacho's been involved in a goal in every 70 minutes I saw today, which is a great stat to have under your belt at that level. The thing for me is we saw rumours a few weeks ago that Nacho wants out. If that's true, then where does that leave us, and who do you replace him with? Because I think once he comes on, he's been brilliant. He went through that period last season where he got booed a lot. People didn't want him in the team, and he lost his place in his national team. He didn't go to the African Championships, and I think he's kind of dusted himself off, kind of focused on where he needs to be, and come back a completely different player, probably nearer to the player that we saw at Man City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he could just pick up, again, when people make mistakes, he capitalizes on that. Or when he can actually create stuff like he did, or he creating opportunities that we haven't seen before, just like in the Everton game, where he was creating chances, he was going through the middle, he was pushing forward and driving forward. And it's a side that we've never seen before. And we were saying like, at the beginning of the season with him and Gray, this was their opportunity to shine. And I think Nacho has really took that and ran with it. I think the thing that you're saying, I'm not sure if he would want to leave, because where is he going to go? Come the end of the season, that's going to give him as much playtime as us, that's going to make him a main striker, because we're going to cost an absolute fortune for him. I can't see him leaving, because it doesn't make any sense to leave when he could see, look, if Jamie Vardy is to go down and his form will go down, and we've got European football, I'm going to get more game time and I'm going to be able to play in Europe. Where else can I get that in another team to be first place striker?
Yeah, I think it's all come from conversations that we had with Rodgers, whatever Rodgers' plan is, which obviously we don't know what that is. He wasn't happy. But having said that, he might have gone to him and said, I'm not happy. And all of a sudden we start to play 3-5-2 and he's getting game time. So I think the difficulty is, even a striker that's on that much money, they want to play in international games. So they need to play week in, week out. So it might have come from that time where he just wasn't playing, was used in cup games and stuff. And probably no striker wants to just play in cup games, do they?
Yeah. Sorry, Ant.
It's like I said this to you around the Christmas period, where he went through that really good patch against Everton in the league at home, where he came on in the back and stuff, changed the games, and then he went on a really good streak, and then he just got dropped, and we didn't see him again for a while. And it's like, that cannot do his confidence any good. Like, knowing however good you play, but you're always going to be the second choice.
But that's just because Vardy's status at the club. And also, let's not forget, Jamie Vardy is still the top striker, the top scoring striker this year in the Premier League. It's going to be hard for him to get first team football in a not so good team. What team can take him to the next level, playing him game in, game out? That's the question.
Yeah, I wasn't criticising sort of saying he should have been playing. I was just saying it's probably quite disheartening for him.
You're right. I think next year, if we could score Europe, it's a great opportunity for him to show what he's worth.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Europe, obviously we've seen it with teams before, and us included, where it can stretch your squad massively, but it's also an opportunity for players sort of on the fringe of the squad to show themselves and to shine a bit more.
Yeah, and we saw last time we were there, we kind of concentrated on the Champions League, and just kind of the league just kind of went up at the side, didn't it? And and it's difficult to focus on too. The only teams that manage it are the Liverpool's, Man City's of this world, who have a 25-man squad, but their squad is quite deep in depth.
Man City put two teams out, and both of them would finish in the top 4 in the Premier League.
Yeah. But then the thing is, we just got to... Rodgers knows what he's doing he's got a European experience, so he might recruit well, but also he might just he might get people in on loan, or he might decide to reach down, because bear in mind, we've got quite a decent youth squad at the moment. He might decide to reach through there and then bring them into the fringes and on the bench and stuff like that, and see if we can bolster the squad that way. Because with the whole coronavirus thing going around at the moment, I don't think we're going to spend a drastic amount of money.
No, I think you're right. I think the bigger teams will probably spend more because there's no financial fair play rules, so they can kind of flex their financial muscles. Whereas we'll probably spend around 30 to 40 million. I can't see us bringing many people in, just a few players in depth to help us through the year.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way it's going to go. So anyway, let's not talk about Europe. We've still got a few hard games to come up next, who I think you're getting onto now, aren't you, James?
Yeah. So next game's Arsenal tomorrow night. Looking forward to it at the Emirates. No fans there, so probably the same atmosphere. So
kind of not joking though at the same time.
Kind of want to get your thoughts on it. For me, I think a 3-5-2 would work against Arsenal. Quite pacey, quite young. All you got to do is just attack their defence. Their defence, every time I see them, looks quite shaky.
Yeah.
I think Wolves try to, but they weren't really getting the ball from midfield that often. So I think that's probably the best way for me to beat Arsenal. I think it's Arsenal. You're not sure who's going to turn up, are you?
Mm-hmm. Well, Ozil's not turning up. That's all you know.
The thing is with Arsenal, they can beat anyone, but they've also got it in them to lose to anyone.
Yeah, and Arteta's still a relatively new manager, so it is like a roll of the dice. But I think I agree with James. Like, the fact is, if we can take control of the game, and they'll kind of go, "You're at our home." There's still a little bit of ego of Arsenal of we're at home. You shouldn't be taking the ball off us. They'll push players forward. We can carve them open, especially if we play Yuri Tillemans in that advanced position. We could do some damage to them. The only issue is, I think we've played the defense. I think the same back 4 have played pretty much every single game now, and that's something that's going to get tired out if they're playing 2 games in a week. So I thought there'd be more changes around the Watford and the Brighton game and potentially the Crystal Palace game, but there just wasn't. So going forward, I don't know how much change he's going to make, but because of the Man Uniteds and the Tottenhams of the world, these squads are deep and quite solid. So that's my issue with it. Not that it's a bad thing, but we've not actually used that many players.
No, I think you're right. And I think Chilwell and Maddison are not going to play. Both are injured. So I think Bennett will come in and probably the same team that played on Saturday. But I think you're right. We play tonight. Do we play Saturday this week?
We play Saturday as well, yes.
And it's two a week, and like you say, you're still playing the same back 4. They're going to start to struggle a bit, and even the midfield. And Diddy might start struggling a bit. The Vardys of the world. So I think at some point we are going to see some fringe players. And Man City did it, but Man City have got, like as I said, an unbelievable strength in squad. But even the other teams. Do we play Bournemouth this Saturday?
I've just checked. It's Sunday, 12th of June at 7. So quite a late game at Bournemouth as well. So it's a hell of a game and a hell of a drive back.
Okay. The only thing I will say about Bournemouth, having seen them, if we don't put 5 or 6 past them, they've been dreadful defensively the last few games. But getting back to Arsenal, that's kind of my views. Run at them, try and control the midfield, and take it from there. But again, I'm not sure who's going to play because he might rotate. What do you think, guys?
Do we know what Perez's fitness is?
Perez. I think he's all right. I think he's all right to play. It's just Maddison and Chilwell that are doubts.
He's okay.
So I thought Perez looked really good down the middle against Palace, like driving up the opposition and stuff. I think that is his best position down the middle, not sort of out wide.
I think one issue with those is that you've got a lot of players in that position. You play Tillemans there. Weirdly, he was playing Pratt there in that number 10 position, but he wasn't playing, and Tillemans was dropping back, which after seeing the performance against Crystal Palace, I've got a feeling that Brendan Rodgers won't change that. He will still play Pratt up in that position. But I see what you mean. And Diddy, if potentially we've got Chowdhury coming in, I think Chowdhury had a great game last time. When this time last season when we won 3-0, well, not this time last season, but the game in the second half of the season against Arsenal, where it was Emery's, where we played against Emery, and Hamza had a right field day because they were playing the tiki-taka football, and Hamza just went sliding in everywhere, and just the determination to get the ball. He could be a player to bring in as well.
I don't think this is for playing against. I know Arsenal aren't like the Arsenal of old, but I don't think it's the right game to bring in Hamza to play against a top team. I think for me, I'd play Ndidi this week and then against Bournemouth, bring Chowdhury in for a bit of rotation.
You see, I think Hamza does better against the top 6 than he does against the bottom 6.
I think he does better, but I still think Ndidi's still quite a bit clearer of what Hamza is at the moment. And that's nothing against Chowdhury, but Ndidi is just a level above.
Yeah, you're right, but I think it's just I just don't want him to play this many. I think we're going to have to change inevitably because there's a lot of games that we're playing in such a small amount of time, and Ndidi can't play every single game.
No, as you were saying, I'd give him this game, and then against Bournemouth, I'd bring Chowdhury in.
Yeah, if I was the manager, I'd probably go my strongest team tomorrow, and then rest a lot of them on Sunday. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Because the last 3 games after that, can't remember that one. Then the Spurs and Man United. So the last 2 games, you probably want your first 11 properly fit for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and we've got Sheffield United as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Sheffield United, Tottenham, then Man U.
Yeah, Sheffield United's not going to be a walkover. Spurs, Mourinho, no doubt, part of the bus at some point.
Yeah,
like he always does.
Spurs love to turn up against us. They could be having the worst season like possible, like they are this year, and you still know they'll want to turn up against us.
Yeah, and then Man United are just on fire at the minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look forward to tomorrow night's game. Neil, are you doing a reaction show after the game?
Yeah, so we'll try and get some fans on and stuff like that, but I'll be doing live reaction after the game. So make sure to tune into that, or if you're watching on the YouTube channel, just make sure to hit the reminder, and you'll be notified of when we go live, and get your comments in for that, and then we'll react to them in real time. So, that should be a good one.
Okay, and we're back next week. So I'll talk to you guys then.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks.